place and manner of student speech on campus unless the restrictions are reasonable, justified, narrowly tailored, etc.
And so, Mr. Chairman, or Madam Chairman, here's my question for Delegate Landis. I don't know if you drew your bill in reference to that previous established law, but I just want to make sure they operate together. In other words, that we have not introduced any inherent conflict in the prohibition of free speech zones and what we will permit as sort of reasonable restrictions, you know, given the terrain, the configuration of buildings and so on and so forth, classrooms that may be conducting classes and so on and so forth, you know, loud noise outside. With what Delegate Landis is attempting to do, which is make very clear that we're not going to bridge free speech. Do these things, do you see, Council, any conflict in that respect?
Right.
Madam Chair, no, I don't see any conflict. I think Delegate Landis' bill is just a much broader approach to the same issue of First Amendment rights. So,
thank you.
Any other comments from the committee?
Question.
Question? Okay, Delegate Lindsay.
Madam Chair, question for the patron. As it relates to his bill also including invited guests, if I could get some insight as to why that particular component is in his bill.
Delegate Landis.
Madam Chairman, I think Delegate Lindsay, the purpose of that is to get to what has occurred on some college campuses where individual groups and organizations have tried to prohibit the free expression and actually allow the dialogue to occur on campus for guests that have invited, guest lecturers, guest speakers, and the like. And unfortunately, it's occurred on both the right and the left. This is just an attempt to say that policy of the Commonwealth should be to support invited guests. Now, they're invited guests. There's most campuses and universities have a specific policy on who invites them and how they're invited. So we're not just saying anybody that has not been included from the standpoint of some lecture or whatever. They still have the right of free speech too, but the campus and universities, as Delegate Lingenfelter said, can kind of limit how that occurs and set up policies in place. So the intent here is just to say that they can't be excluded if they're invited from speaking, and that gets to basically individuals who try to prevent speakers making presentations on campus and guest lecturers and the like.
I don't see anybody else in the queue, so I'm going to ask the audience, is anybody who would like to speak for or against this legislation?
Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee, my name is Josh Hetzer on behalf of the Family Foundation, and for all the reasons stated so well by Delegate Landis, we support the bill.
Thank you. Anyone else? For or against? Okay, seeing nobody in the audience, then committee.
Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, Delegate Massey.
I have a motion.
Okay, state your motion.
I move that we report House Bill 1401.
There's a motion and a second to report House Bill 1401. All members, please state your preference on the board. The bill passes 14-5.
All right, is there any other business to come before the committee? All right, if not, I entertain a motion to adjourn. And seconded, all